But you talked about it wasn't just Mask. TheBest played excellently for them on that Janus pick. And as we already start moving into picks and bans for Game 2, I got to wonder, are they going to let him have that one again, prioritize Thoth? Is there going to be an adjustment in picks and bans for Game 2?
I don't really see Trifecta as wanting to early ban out the Janus so much because Best is one of those players where he's been around the competitive scene for such a long time. It's actually pretty difficult, I think, to ban out somebody with as much player
he'd play new wall if you made him,
Exactly. You would probably just default right back to a new wall. Something also pretty interesting is that Habois was actually left open for the entirety of Game 1,
That's
and
right,
neither side bothered with trying to take it, and instead, Trifecta, they're not going to quite ban it away, but they are going to first pick that Janus.
Yeah, that lets it function almost like a third ban for them. I'm sure they're plenty happy to have the through space and time and the portals on their own side this time, though, are Trifecta, so they'll enjoy having that Janus working for them. In response, though, Splyce go with Cerberus and with that Ullr pick, so once again, we're going to see Cyclone on this Ullr that he actually seemed kind of comfortable on. I wanted to make sure we talked about this is a bit of an adjustment for Cyclone. He used to be a solo laner, and now playing that hunter role, still kind of carrying as he kind of is used to doing, but now doing it from that physical hunter position.
I think that Ullr is a very fitting hunter for Cyclone, not just because of the strong laning phase that he does have a possibility for, but also because if need be, he has a god that can actually 1v1 against Zapman. Zap has been playing a little bit more aggressively in Season 5, probably more so than what we saw out of him in Season 4. I think that right now Zap is really starting to get back into that healthy blend between Season 2 and Season 3 Zapman, where I think Season 3 was actually one of the better, or not Season 3, but I think it was one of the more standout moments for Zap during that eager time period, and now that he's coming back, and I think really starting to try and make a heavy impact in a meta that doesn't necessarily encourage dual lane pressure from the duo itself, but more so from the junglers.
Oh, we see that global pressure kind of feels like the name of the game for Trifecta. Ratatoskr was selected early for them, combined with that through space and time. Going to be very high mobility that they're going to be able to execute. Even the Amaterasu with her movement speed passive can help them move around the map pretty quickly. Splyce, on the other hand, it looks like lockdown, lockdown, lockdown is what they want to do. And then they've got an Ullr and a Scylla to follow up on that lockdown. That's plenty of damage. Can they execute is going to be the question.
A little bit more execution involved, but knowing a team like Splyce, this is the kind of CC that they want to have. I like that Trifecta has a lot more survivability, though, spread between their carries.
Yeah.
A lot more potential to escape from some of that CC that Splyce has to offer. Although I do think that Splyce... Actually, I'm going to give this one to Trifecta.
Giving it to Trifecta. Okay. Well, let's get over there to the casters to see who is going to take this game here between Trifecta and Splyce.
Thanks a lot, guys. Tom and Ryan here. Once again, happy birthday to John Finch. Really love the draft here for Splyce. Talk about knowing your team identity. TheBest on the Scylla, Aror on the Kumbha. I mean, these guys just picked what they're good at playing. Meta be damned. Love it.
But it's the exact same style of team composition. They just played and executed very well. Now, is that going to be enough information for Trifecta to know exactly what's coming and try to play around it? But let's be real. I mean, there's nothing you're going to surprise people with when you pick Fenrir plus Burst Mage. It's like, oh man, what are they going to do? I've got no idea. No, you're going to get picked up and you're going to get ripped in half by the mage. That's kind of the game plan. It's just a matter of Trifecta can do a better job of playing around that this time.
Well, Splyce able to win game number 1. We'll see if they're going to win game number 2 or if we'll get bonus smite and head to match 3 should Trifecta take this one. Let us know what you think at home. Will Trifecta stretch it or will we just go home early?
And Trifecta's done a good job of bouncing back so far in this short season. They've done a good job of having tough games where they don't look great or they're in the lead and then or kind of let it slip out of their fingers and then coming back and having good matchups the next game around. I mean, there's a team full of veterans who have kind of been there, done that, and so I expect that they'll be able to just take that loss, realize what went wrong, and then come out with a better performance here in Game 2.
This is a team that I think their win-loss record is a little deceptive. If you're not paying attention to the league and you just see their slash line, they're definitely better than their W's and L's are concerned.
I would agree with you. They've played pretty well so far, yes. Oh no, your glasses were broken.
Yeah, I just wore broken glasses on the broadcast. That's actually hilarious.
Where'd that go?
I
don't even know.
Well, they're going in the garbage right now.
But your very expensive prescription glasses that definitely have a prescription.
Are you trying right now? You should wear them when we come out from break.
All right, bet.
Splyce Trifecta here. Game number 1. Hey, it works, dude. Actually, it really does.
All right, cool.
Game number 1, Splyce started things off really fast. And we were talking about how their identity is kind of these early game aggressors. And Splyce here, same pick in the jungle for Cyno. TheBest is not going to have that early game dominance. But Cyno, if he wants to stay aggressive early, is he going to go to the dual lane or elsewhere?
I mean, the dual lane this time around for Trifecta has better clear and more safety, particularly past level 5 because of that mounted archery for Zapman is going to get him out of danger a little bit easier. I think the key factor here is that they don't end up getting pressured out early on. Remember, CycloneSpin found that early axe, was able to do good damage, and that is what allowed that zone to really start on the other side. Now, if you're stopping that, if you're not getting poked out early on, you don't get zoned out if you're Zapman and NeiruMah, you've got a much better chance to play aggressive in this lane.
Trifecta going to step up and do that. And actually, the fans stepped up. It was a closer vote this time around in game number 2. Trifecta and Splyce head-to-head here. Cyno going to go ahead and find his own buff this time around. Last game, we saw him invading very, very frequently. And Trifecta going to take a note and send 2 players to those buffs just in case.
Exactly. Last time, he left the red buff for Best to do and came over here and was able to do the enemy red buff. This time around, Mask rotates over, makes sure that red buff gets secured, and then is able to force Aror and CycloneSpin off their own purple buff. I like that adjustment.
Unable to get a kill there. Trifecta being very aggressive, walking into the enemy jungle. Splyce knew they were coming because NeiruMah actually brought half of the wave with him. Had that been a surprise, I think maybe we see some aggression that winds up as a kill. But Splyce able to get the heads up thanks to their minions.
Yeah, sometimes you treating your minions right will end up coming back to help you out. Scary has to be careful here because Cyno, I just don't know if he's got that jump stun. Must not, because otherwise he heads straight over to this lane and tries to find the kill. Didn't get enough runes on that blue buff invade to find the stun there on the Scary D. And Brutalize, not great in the Amaterasu because instead of dashing away, all she has to do is dash into you to find the silence and prevent that damage from coming. Though it does make her waste her dash and, you know, put her in place. You're trading skill for skill, but the Brutalize won't take you nearly as far as that dash for Amaterasu will. So could still be used to make sure that a gank goes correctly for Splyce on that right-hand side of the map, if they so choose.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the risk versus reward for ganks in this early phase is very high because of how difficult it is just to hit level 5 on the new map. You really got to maximize your farm. If you're in one of those 50-50 scenarios, that's a 50-50 kill here. You just don't take it at level 3. I think that's the right choice.
Neil able to dash out of the axe stun from CycloneSpin. I was just talking about how well Terra and Ullr work together after game 1. Well, Kumbha and Ullr work together just as well in this duo lane because you've got the Mez, you've got the Root, you're setting up for a lot of damage. And that's why it was critical for Trifecta to pick duo laners that can use mobility once they get rooted. Sobek's Charge Prey, we just saw NeiruMah use that. Zapman's got the EI Jutsu to get out of range to make sure that he doesn't get, wombo comboed. If you're playing something in that duo lane that doesn't have a dash, though the hunters are a little bit few and far between, that don't have any sort of mobility, you can get caught pretty easily.
Sobek's going to find the pluck. Aror safe and sound because Cyno is able to dissuade Mask from entering that lane. Nice presence coming out from the dog. Again.
He's got level 5 and continues a chase onto Mask. The duo lane for Trifecta here beforehand, though, is looking for NeiruMah with that Ragnarok, but Neil able to get underneath the tower with help from a sprint. So Ragnarok for sprint, not such a bad trade for either side. Honestly, both sides probably coming out of that feeling like they won that trade overall. Splyce is saying, okay, that's a longer cooldown than my Ragnarok, so that's a win for us. Whereas on the other side, Trifecta's probably saying, well, that's how Splyce is going to get their kills in the early game. So now we've bought ourselves, a minute plus of relaxation whenever Cyno's around.
I really liked what Cyno did there. Unfortunately didn't execute. I don't think he planned on really aggressing on Mask at all. I think his plan was to hit the rotation from the duo lane to help Mask the entire time. I think that was his entire plan. I like the deke.
Either way, it's still 0-0 so far. And this early game composition for Trifecta is kind of similar to what we saw Splyce use in the last game, which is early game, in the mid, and on the left-hand side, early to mid, I should say. Janus not necessarily your early game beater, but certainly excellent in the mid game. You've got early and mid game on the left-hand side of your map, then great late game team fighter coming out of the solo lane. It's exactly what Splyce did last time around. Just because it's a warrior doesn't mean it's not the same exact situation for the Amaterasu. Splyce going for the exact same style of composition, except for TheBest is a little bit more late game tilted than something like the Janus, but still does enough in the mid game that Fenrir is going to be able to pick up the bulk of the damage and then just deliver the kill to Scylla, and she'll certainly have enough burst damage, even by this point, to confirm whatever Cyno can start.
I really like how Trifecta, again, talking about the draft, matched what Splyce did. Cyno set the pace of the game in game number 1. Even when Splyce was trailing, Cyno pretty much had control of the tempo. And Trifecta was left trying to follow him around, kind of cleaning up everything he messed up. Mask and Metyankey with their global and their semi-global, they're going to be able to chase down Cyno that much easier if the same thing winds up happening. So Trifecta have really put themselves in a position to kind of stop what Cyno's been trying to do.
Oh, scary. Uses his ultimate to immune the Stygian Torment by Divios. That's a great play. I love everything about that play. And again, that's communication. That's two guys who look like they've been playing together forever, right?
Yeah.
Divios goes, yo, I'll force the ultimate. And those are two ultimates that Scary needs to immune. You can't afford to get hit by either one of those in that situation. So he has to use the Dazzling Offensive in response to the Stygian Torment. If he doesn't, he dies. If he uses it too early, like he does there, Cyno picks him up, and he dies. I love that play.
The timing was also nice. Mask going to come down here, miss the knock-up on the 1 versus 2 after Splyce invades in the jungle. A little bit of help for the mid lane as well, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Metyankey and Mask can actually respond to this play from Splyce, whereas with the draft they had in game number 1, they weren't able to do so. Trifecta identified what happened, and they said, look, that was actually out of control, and Cyno is just going to do that to us again. It's going to be hard enough to stop it. Let's just see if we could clean it up a little bit. And they absolutely love how they're executing.
Really well played. I almost upset that we didn't see Metyankey use the through space in time to try and follow up off Mask's ultimate. He could see where they are, tell him where to aim, knock him up and guarantee it. But Met's patience ends up paying off in that situation because instead of going for the wombo combo one-shot, he instead cuts off the escape route, uses his ultimate as a transportation module to make sure that he can get in the right position, and then make sure that Divios ends up falling in the end there. So I think either play could have worked. Metyankey's route much more guaranteed and much safer, and usually at a competitive level, that's what's going to end up being the better play in the end.
That's also, I think, the identity that Met has carved out for himself as the mid laner is the utility mid lane. And right now, people kind of say mages are controlling the mid game, but you can shift. You don't have to be the hard carry. Metyankey can't be the hard carry for Trifecta, in my opinion. I'd much rather him play this utility style stuff. And
when are we going to see my man's play as Isis? I love watching Met play Isis. His Isis is so good. And I feel like Isis is really good right now. She just got some more buffs and is already in a pretty good spot. Her mid game's phenomenal. Her early game pressure is there. Your objective secure. That's what I want to see from Met.
Cyno takes a chunk. He's in trouble as Metyankey provides the damage. Follow up, and Zapman able to find him nice and easy. But this ensuing fight, a little bit more exciting. CycloneSpin gonna exit on the left side. Here comes the ultimate from Metyankey, and the final hit comes out of that guy, number 3 for Trifecta.
And that's where jumping in aggressively for Cynosure doesn't end up paying off too much. Aurora going to fall here to Scary D. No chance for this Kumbhakarna to get out of there.
Little overkill with the ultimate, I think.
It wasn't sure, maybe he didn't have the dash available and you don't want to miss your reflective mirror and then let him get away. Probably didn't know exactly what the cooldown timers were either. Plus, Dazzling Offensive's on a pretty low cooldown as it is. If Scary's getting an ultimate, if he or getting a kill, I don't care if he has to use his ult. If he could have saved it, you're still in a good spot getting your Amaterasu an early game kill.
Ensuring that Aurora dies ensures that the Gold Fury will go uncontested. So the early game lead this time going to Trifecta. 1,900 gold right now for Trifecta above Splyce, 4-1. Not even 10 minutes in.
And again, this is that's Metyankey just using that early game rotation, and this is playing around something that Best is known for, basically, which is staying in lane and not wanting to rotate a whole lot in the early stages. Best is one of the more conservative mid laners in the league. He wants to stay there, get his farm. You can either come to me to fight, or I'll be there whenever it's time to fight later on. Where Metyankey's been in right, Metyankey's been in left, Best has been to neither of those fights, and both times it's resulted in kills for Trifecta. So I love this Janus pick in the way that Trifecta is kind of understanding what you don't know for sure that Best isn't going to rotate, but you can make an educated guess based on his past tendencies.
Right. The metagame is so much more than just the gods and the buffs and the pluses and minuses. The metagame are the players piloting those characters as well. Best tosses out a rotation that will be dodged out. Here comes Divios with the setup, and Scary D just gone like that. Cyno gets the last hit off of the assist for the mid lane and the support.
Really curious that only Scary wants to go in there. I don't mind that aggression. I don't know if Trifecta had called out some sort of rotation on the left-hand side, and Scary ignored that, because Mask and Metyankey, Best uses his escape to get into the jungle, and immediately Mask doesn't dash on him, which was very surprising to me.
I think
that Scary either ignored some sort of call, or Mask and Metyankey just kind of ditched him in an opportunity for a kill.
I think that what happened was they saw the writing on the wall as Scary walked in. Scary goes in and everybody's with it until they see, oh, that's the whole comp. Yeah, we're not doing that, Scary. Good luck. Do you think you can outlive the Scylla ult? We're leaving.
Nope. Especially not after you get prot shredded by that ghastly breath. That sets up for Scylla ultimate to do just absurd damage onto any target. And again, another good reason why this team composition works together very well.
Yeah, this is Splyce. Splyce are basically building combo compositions here, and they're just getting to a point, and they're telling us we did the thing. We have executed our entire plan from minute one. So Splyce are having a lot of fun, I think, with the compositions, and specifically Cyno has been really, really, really attractive. And this is what this composition, the feed to mid lane composition, is how Pretty Prime and the guys on Obey have found a lot of success. They pick Captain Twig for a facilitation jungler, lots of the time Fenrir, and they just feed Prime. So, hey, Obey's been pretty successful, I think.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful right there. Mask finds a stun. Metyankey was already winding up to confirm the kill. Mask forced into the ultimate because of the pressure from Cyno, but still able to get away. Best used the beads there, but still wasn't quite in time. This early Soul Reaver works really, really well on Scylla in particular, so I like that Best has gone back to that, but now on the respawn timer makes it a little bit more difficult to be the impact.
Cyno jumping on the big Z. Gonna have his ultimate immuned out. Beads a little bit late after the Sobek pluck, but not a big deal. Coming back to it, Cyno gonna exit on the left-hand side. Safe and sound.
Looks like Neil used his ultimate there. Scary actually makes the rotation over. Dashes onto Aror, but not a lot of kill potential there, especially with Aror having that epic uppercut available. No Gold Fury, still down for about a minute 15. Scary still makes this long rotation over the duo lane.
Interesting itemization from Scary, actually. Looked like he started building into physical defense and then swapped over to Aurora to counter what Divios was doing. So I think he was more troubled by the Fenrir in the jungle at the beginning of the game, and then as soon as Divios started getting some levels and dealing a little bit more damage, shifted full time into that Pesty.
Well, Silver Breastplate, one of the most cost-efficient items in the game. You're not spending a lot of gold to get a ton of physical protection and some mana as well. So you get 35 physical prot, 200 mana. Then you got to leave it there, finish off your Pestilence. I like to see Scary go right back to it, though. Finish off a High of the Nemean Lion or your Breastplate of Valor. Make sure that you can finish off that item and get your value where you've already put it, and then you can work towards whatever you need as your fourth item.
Bridging you over, kind of like the old Light Blade from Hunters of a long, long time ago. Want to focus on Metyankey's build, though, here. Distinct difference from what we saw Best do, and just goes talking about player tendency and how pilots are so different. Best was looking for the Soul Weaver, the big blow-you-up damage right away. Chronos Pendant Rush from Metyankey, understanding he's a little bit more about utility, popping the ultimate for his teammates.
Auror gets blinked and stunned and already dead. That damage is enough. Auror gets ulted there by Best to try and peel away those auto attackers. Cyno was able to chase down Zapman on the horse and find the return kill, and Cyclone will finish off Mask for starting that engagement. And nice 2-for-1 there. Auror absorbed enough cooldowns and baited in enough people to make sure that Splyce was going to be able to pick up the return kills. And that's something that Kumba does so well, man. As if he wasn't annoying enough when he's alive, he stays annoying while he's dead.
Trifecta there actually had a cute play that doesn't wind up doing everything for them. But they come in, they collapse on Aror. Ooh, Metyankey caught out right in front of the portal. Look at Best following him. Yeah, that was fun.
I kind of wish Best would have just thrown it onto Metyankey right before he went through that portal, though, because you're crippled. You're rooted and crippled before he goes in there. Best might have gotten a little bit too cute in order to try and find that kill. Either way, you're forcing out Metyankey's Aegis and probably not finding that kill. Probably just didn't think that he had enough time on the stun remaining from CycloneSpin. Probably felt like that was his only option as to find the damage. And I love the thought process, but I wonder if he would have been able to just hit it where he was.
That's kind of what I see that a lot with both of these teams, actually, Splyce and Trifecta, where I'm really enjoying what the thought was, what their plan was, but the execution just doesn't wind up on, number one. For Splyce, I'm kind of leaning on the excuse, and I'll call it an excuse, that these guys are coming back to the game. I think there is that to that, but I mean, Trifecta, I kind of expect more of the execution from this team.
I mean, you can see the flashes of it, and so much about execution is teamwork. Individual execution is one thing. You'll get there at a pro level. Everyone here in the league is already there on an individual level. It's just about executing the little minute things as a unit that takes some time.
15 minutes in here, 10 kills. Trifecta have 6 of them. 1,500 in the lead as well. Very close game. Splyce by no means out of it. Going to isolate Mask here from the rest of the squad. Mask going to rotate around and find somebody else. NeiruMah will be picked up and likely put down. Going to go the wrong way, question mark. Mask going to show up, and NeiruMah does find an exit. Splyce trying to find one. At least it's going to be Zapman. Aegis is down. Divios gets a kill.
Neil goes through that portal to break the brutalize from Cyno. Fenrir is not going to follow you through that portal. It puts him into the teeth of the team, but the rest of the team was so preoccupied with what the rest of Trifecta was doing, kind of figuring that Cyno was going to be able to finish that off. Nice play from NeiruMah to keep himself alive, but Zap kind of gets baited into a bad spot in the mid lane all by himself, and Splyce take advantage.
Gold's Fury will be the target for Splyce. If they get this one, it's going to be a lead change. Half HP so far on the objective. Trifecta trying to do what they can. Metyankey going to take a lot of damage. Half HP on the Janus. Does not have ultimate available. Scary D does if he finds a flank. Gold's Fury going to be leashed out. There's Cyno jumping on in. But not much aggression, really. It's all Scary D by himself. Who's going to do it? Aror goes down, but now the solo laner is isolated. And he's gone. CycloneSpin with the last hit.
No repeat of the great, scary marathon of what was that, 2016, I think?
Sure.
Able to get locked down there by CycloneSpin's axe. Again, 1-for-1 support, level 10 for level 16 solo laner. I'm sure Splyce comes out of that feeling pretty happy with that engagement. You know what I realized? You said something earlier on, and it was almost a slip, but it works out perfectly. This roster going under the Splyce organization sounds a lot like Spice, and they like to do weird stuff. I think that there's some future potential there between, Spice and Splyce and Slice and Dice.
Little bit of insight into the commentary. You know, when I recap the game, I usually like to do that about every 7 minutes in a MOBA, but you're annoying, so I want to change the topic. I'm going to do it right now. 17, almost 18 minutes in, 7-6 read the kills.
Trying to help you out a little bit, Tom. Jeez.
Still up 1,000.
Trying to make you sound clever and stuff. It's hard enough as it is. Come on, man.
I actually really do like Ryan sometimes. He's just a little splicey today.
No, see,
I brought it full circle now.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Good work.
Brought it full circle.
I'm proud of you.
I can't wait to have Anatoly on my next set. I really can't.
I'm sure you can. Oh, man. I like making people think that I wish there was anyone else sitting next to me right now. That's kind of like my goal every time I sit down to cast with someone. I did it with Graham earlier this week, and now I'm 1-for-1 so far today.
CycloneSpin, certainly a little bit better than 1-for-1. 2 1-1 at the moment. Trying to bait this Gold Fury. I'm not sure what Cyclone's trying to do, but his team is taking care of NeiruMah kind of easily. 4-on-5, and the support goes down, and Splyce going to look for another Gold Fury.
If this Splyce team composition had a name, it'd be the Kill the Support team comp, and they've done that really well so far in this set. Divios and Aror zone away the rest of Trifecta and allow their backliners to secure their first Gold Fury of the game. Basically evens it up. in the gold department, though XP still a little bit in Trifecta's favor.
Divios, TheBest, and Aror, when they all played under the Ullr banner with Zapman, really, it was a combination of the meta and their playstyle. They wound up being focused in the support role, so much so that Aror wound up buying beads and kind of made that a staple of the supports for the moment. It's almost as if the core of this Splyce team is remembering that meta and going, we can still punish supports. They remembered how functional that was and kind of going back to an old strategy.
It's a tested strategy, and it works. It absolutely does. That was kind of my team strategy back in the day when I was playing, was we just picked stuff that killed supports, and if you start every fight 4-on-5, you've got a much better chance at winning that fight.
One more time, Best is going to get jumped on by Mask, and it's a whole slew of messed up jerseys here. Everybody kind of behind enemy lines. Scary D brought onto the tower. Metyankey finds one from a distance, but the work was done to take care of Scary D. It's a 1-for-1 so far.
Nice shot there by Metyankey, able to confirm the kill onto TheBest. Nice play there, and that's critical because if you run out of that again down 1-0, that's probably a Pyromancer pull from Splyce.
Yeah.
Still could be because Trifecta low in the ultimate department, but Splyce instead grouping as 4 here in the mid lane.
Tier 1 tower, the target for Splyce. Around the back end comes Zapman, piling the damage onto CycloneSpin, but Zapman's getting piled on as well. CycloneSpin turns around and takes him down with the long-range hail of arrows. Splyce again on the good side of things. 3 players remain for Trifecta, but Splyce a little bit too wounded to look for a big objective.
Man, what did all that damage to Zapman there? He went from full HP to nearly 0 in what felt like the blink of an eye. I believe that was Cyclone. It's the only thing that I can think of that would have done that much burst damage. Probably hit him with the 3 right before he dashed away, and then the bladed arrow followed the Yaijutsu and able to put Zapman low enough to fall. Zap has struggled so far in this game. I mean, obviously game 1, it was part of Splyce's plan to put him behind in the early game, and those sorts of struggles are understandable. But this time around, 1 and 3, the positioning in the mid lane fight beforehand for his second death was a little bit off the mark, and then there just gets punished for being too far up as Splyce aggress. With Aurora blinking forward, you kind of have to take that as okay, we are all backing up now.
Right.
There is that man still standing his ground while his backliners behind him are getting harassed.
Yeah, there's a difference between finding the flank and lurking so hard you put yourself out of position, right? And Zapman looked for the flank, but unfortunately wound up being so far out of range that nobody could help him. So he did get the initial damage on the stun on the flank, and just wound up dying because nobody within screaming distance for him, unfortunately.
No, Scream is on E United.
He is E United, the defending world champions. Not having a great season. Unfortunately, trailing behind in the standings.
It's true.
Scary D going to get picked up here by Fenrir. Pulled into the damage. And not that much fanfare.
Did you guys watch the SPL happen that FDOT did yesterday? That screaming face at the end that has been screen capped? That's the face he's giving me right now.
That's me internally all of the time.
Yeah, that's pretty much true.
Splyce
That
in the
was your
middle lane.
best episode ever, by the way. No doubt in my mind.
Number 10. Splyce looking for number 11 here in the mid lane. Tier 2 tower standing, but Mask will be sitting. Metyankey stunned out. Divios doing a phenomenal job of playing the solo lane zone. I'm always impressed. I said it in game number 1, Ryan. I'm always impressed the way Divios just excels at doing his job.
In this team composition for Splyce makes you look so many different ways. You have to pay attention to what Divios is doing to you. If you get caught by that Stygian Torment, you're dead. Aurora takes advantage of where Divios is and blinks forward, finds the epic uppercut. That makes everybody from Trifecta scramble, which means that if Cyno wanted to pick someone up with that Ragnarok and deliver them, it's going to be a lot easier to do so. This team composition from Splyce is really, really well crafted. And again, it is that feed the mid laner sort of composition, but it also allows CycloneSpin to go nearly untouched. 6-1 and 3. His player damage has been pretty solid as well. Not super high on the leaderboards, but has been really relevant in these team fights. Was there able to secure the kill onto Metyankey as he ran away. Divios has been untouched, it felt like, in these team fights. Cyno continues to impress on this Fenrir. And Aurora is just there to eat as many cooldowns as Trifecta will feed him. And they've done that a lot so far in this game.
I love the way Splyce is playing. I think that this is a team that is going to, and this was the wild card team for me coming into the season. I was right about some, wrong about others. Definitely wrong about how good LG is. Definitely wrong about how not good E United has been. But Splyce for me coming in, I was sitting there saying, this is a team that can be very good or very bad. They're probably not going to be number one, but watching how things have unfolded, Splyce are going to be a much better team than I think a lot of people at home anticipated.
I mean, you were either really, really high on Splyce or really, really low. I felt like there was almost no in between when talking to people, just fans among the scene.
Yeah.
So many people love the old Eager roster, the old Cog Red roster, Divios and those guys. So a lot of people still pulling for him. A lot of people love Aror, and how could you not with his personality, the pull for him. Best fans, CycloneSpin fans. These guys have a pretty big following, and those people, it felt like, were like, yes, Splyce is going to do so well this season. We can't wait to see them play. Others were like, none of these guys have really done it recently. Wonder how they're going to do together. Some tempered expectations for a lot of fans, I feel like, for this roster. And so far, I think that they've had both sides of the coin. This set, though, has got to be really encouraging for those fans.
There's a double stun from Cyno, just setting everyone up and everyone eating. TheBest tosses out the ultimate, deletes one. The 5-on-4 ensures the tier 2 tower will go down undefended.
I believe he even got Mask's dash in that situation. And even with all the defense Scary D has, it's not going to be enough between being held still right in front of a Scylla ult.
Oh, there comes NeiruMah going right on in, finding the double knockup. Phoenix is still healthy. CycloneSpin only able to get a couple of shots out, 90% or so on the bird. There's Divios looking for Mask, jumping forward, gets the kill, off of the damage from the Hunter. And NeiruMah has to just look and watch as his teammates get deleted.
Man, I like what Metyankey does in that team fight. Tries to just make the hero play because Lord knows Trifecta needs one. Just misses TheBest. Still pokes him out, pokes Cyno out. Your Janus is playing like he doesn't need any peel and doing so successfully, but it still does not enough. Clearly, the game plan from Splyce is to just ignore all outside forces, make the call, stick to the call, kill the call, and then we'll move on from there, and they've done that so well this set.
Pure aggression, and again, those same items. I broke this itemization down in game number 1, not this game, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. But again, those same items that we're looking for that are pure aggro. Cyno trying to get it, can't find the bite. Finally does, but he took a lot of damage there. Still, Zapman in trouble. Ex-teammate Divios cuts down Steve.
Nice shot there by Divios, too. That paralyzing spit. I know we talk about it all the time. It's a hard-to-hit skill shot. Well, Divios able to make it happen right there and thread the needle to bring down Zapman.
That's also a key here, is that no surprise that Divios is able to hit this. Divios plays more Smite than probably literally anybody. Anytime I log on, Divios is online. Anytime ever. Divios is online, and that's the same conversation with Aror. Aror might not play as much, or maybe he does, but my conversation is about how much these players think about the game. Divios and Aror, I mean, we've spoken to him as commentators when Aror comes here to town.
Yeah.
You could put Divios and Aror in a room, and I'm pretty sure they would talk about Smite until someone came to get them. And I think that's very, very positive for a team that doesn't have the same all-star lineup as SSG and CLG. You're going to have to beat those teams with your brain, and Splyce is doing a very good job of putting themselves in a position to do that.
I mean, when they were on Eager together, that was their team identity, right? Is they just thought of weird stuff and then did it, and it worked most of the time. And I think that's kind of what people were expecting out of this same Splyce roster.
Yeah, I mean, nice commitment from Metyankey here as they notice Splyce are a little spread out. Here's Cyno trying to do damage, but from over the wall, there comes TheBest. Still, not enough to take him down. Mask finally enters a team fight with a nice knockup, but Splyce on the back foot have to retreat. Trifecta with a nice catch.
Scary still keeps the chase going on to Aror, finds the dash in. Zapman trying to close the gap, but all ultimates have already been used for Trifecta. Nice root crush over the wall, and CycloneSpin confirms it with a long-range hail of arrows.
Yeah, Splyce has done a great job. This roster, like we said, Divios and Aror all sticking together with the brains, and CycloneSpin just coming with the raw mechanics. Splyce going to try and disrupt Trifecta's Fire Giant push, blinking forward as Aror gets the yawn, and everybody gonna walk away. Divios not done yet. Looking at his old teammate. Stun and done! Divios again! 6-1-8 for the young Canadian solo laner. Welcome back to the Pro League, Big D.
That's exactly how Cerberus, you know, the masterminds behind the Cerberus design drew it up, right? You slow them down, you strip away their prots with the 2, you back it up with kind of back steps, stuns Zapman, and then jumps forward and gobbles him up whole. Beautiful play there by Divios, and just good recognition by Splyce. First of all, I got to give props where it's due. I love that play from Trifecta to group up, use the Janus ultimate, cut off the escape, try and find your fight, because you're not going to be able to find it when Splyce is ready for you. So I like that call, and then I like the call by them to also go for Fire Giant in that situation, because most of Splyce had to back. Problem is, the 2 tanks didn't have to back for Splyce, so they've got no problem jumping into 4 of you to try and get you off that objective. Then Zapman goes around the wrong side of the rock. Either he needs to go around that left side of the rock, or someone from Trifecta has to go with him around the right side of it. Neither of those things happen. He's left alone. Divios punishes him.
Splyce are doing a great job of smothering Trifecta. A lot of times in this meta, we see teams back off and re-engage and back off and re-engage, and the only time we ever saw Splyce do that is when Trifecta was stuck in their fountain. Splyce is continuously putting their foot on the throat, so Trifecta said, this is our only opportunity. We have to go for this. Splyce going for the right side. Phoenix right now, 50% on the big bird. Trouble for NeiruMah. He's going to exit there. Big ultimate from Metyankey, but unfortunately comes up empty.
Again, just trying to make that hero play. Couldn't quite find it that time. Cyno looked for the stun on his Zapman, but didn't have the runes for it. Right side Phoenix follows his mask, goes in and finds a couple. Scary. Stuns out Cyno. Portal a little bit off the mark there, though. And NeiruMah can't find the pluck.
There's the follow-up from TheBest. One goes down. That's it. Retreat. Splyce. And that's really, really, really nice discipline. They have built this composition off of raw aggression, and yet they still know where the breaks are. You can get a lot of trouble doing this type of comp. You have to know how to pump those brakes, and Splyce they are 100 or they're 0, and I really, really like that.
And that takes a unified voice as well. Either one person being the one to pull the handbrake, or having the whole team do it. Aror knocks up Zapman. That I'm a monster didn't do the job there, but Cyno gonna chase Zap all the way into the fountain. Can't pick him up, but he'll find a Metyankey instead.
And again, the that could have gotten out of hand. That could have easily gotten out of hand. I think the person not making, I think Cyno is not the one making the call.
Hey man, he almost had him. He was safe, and he got the beads out from Metyankey. Did everything he wanted to do.
I think Cyno could have dove the fountain and killed Zapman, but somebody told him not to, and I like that. Trifecta here on the run back. Splyce trying to retreat, but Ryan, Trifecta's not going to let them. This is a great fight for Trifecta, unless CycloneSpin just turns around and beats them up.
I expected to see Cyclone on the kill feed. Is on the other side. Scary will finally put him down, and then try and blink away. May have done so successfully. Metyankey uses his portals to be nice and slippery and get out of danger. But Trifecta can't afford to stick around too long here, FDOT, because those minion waves are going to come in and just end the game if they just keep chasing.
Full wave on the Titan. Zapman's going to go ahead and take care of that. Zapman was unable to join the team fight because Divios was zoning him out. Divios has been stuck to Zapman like Semtex, man.
Nice. Good reference.
Thanks, bro.
I liked it.
You are in rare form today, Ryan Bailey.
It's a Friday. What can I say? We're starting at 5 o'clock. That means we're dangerously close to high-res hours right at the beginning.
We like enter in real Bomb King hours.
Yeah, exactly. Hey man, that's the NA schedule these days, and I'm a fan. I don't know, I like it.
I do like the later nights. 5 p.m. for North America on Fridays and Wednesdays, and 1 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays for Europe. Of course, that means it's around this time for our European viewers. So I think everybody kind of gets what they want.
Yeah, they get to see your own region compete in prime time, right? You can come home from work on a Friday, take your shoes off, kick it up, and watch some NA Smite all night long.
So Divios goes Gauntlet of Thebes again here. I really thought we were seeing it in game number 1, kind of passive, who cares? I'm here for the HP 5, just buying the last HP 5 item on the Xing Qian because he vibes so well with that. But on the Cerberus, man, he stacked it.
He stacked it. Exactly.
happened.
And it's just a stupid amount of protections whenever you finish it getting stacked off. So again, when you're sieging and in these situations, you're seeing minion waves much more quickly than you would otherwise. You're standing at their minion spawn
Very
point.
fair.
And you're farming them very, very quickly, so it doesn't take long to stack it up. iRaffer did it in Europe on Obey, where he was buying it later in the game on these siege defenses because he's rotating from left, clearing that wave, mid, clearing that wave, left again, right. You know, you're getting these minion waves in rapid succession, and it means that 50 stack threshold doesn't take quite as long to get to.
Key point here for the newer fans at home, that does not stack with the thieves that Aurora has. So it won't provide double the aura. But what it does do is that when the team is spread out and Aurora is peeling for the back line and Divios is zoning for the front line, everybody gets coverage. So a nice idea of how, again, Divios understanding his role, knows that he's likely going to be out of range of Aurora's thieves.
Exactly, and it's just, again, HP. Now, I love that Zapman's gone for the chin size in response to how much HP he has built on this Cerberus. Even Aror has a lot of HP between the Sovereignty, the Gauntlet of Thieves that he's got for himself, the Relic Dagger, which is a nice pickup as well. All of those provide HP, so Zapman's Chinsai going to be able to do a lot of extra damage, just a matter of being able to stay alive to do that damage.
I don't think I've been this happy about itemization in a long time. Splyce just understand what they're doing. Trifecta trying to disrupt it one more time, again with the ultimate from Metyankey and the all-out aggression against the all-out aggressors. Divios could have dragged NeiruMah, and a nice ultimate from Aurora, Pop's Mask, who uses his beads to get back into the game. That's going to wind up being a mistake as Cyno shows up, but NeiruMah helps out the jungle rat.
Cyno trying to get in front of Zapman, but takes too many autos there. Unstable Vortex does clip CycloneSpin, puts him below half HP. But I love what Splyce is doing. They're just pushing Trifecta back and then telling them to fight them because these minion waves are going to start pushing in. Look at that massive fire wave on the left-hand side that Mask had to back to deal with.
Could not even be a part of the fight.
It was real big, I swear. Mask just cleared it real fast.
It was. Ryan's shaking his head no, and he's probably right. 20-9, 36 minutes in here, and Splyce has wrestled control of the game. Show me the graphs, please, because early on, Trifecta was inching towards a lead, and then Splyce said, nope, not okay. We're going to take control of this and find themselves up 20,000 gold. Aggression on the right-hand side. Phoenix half alive.
Metyankey uses the ultimate to go aggressive, but he's already low because of Aurora's ultimate. Zapman doing what he can. Scary finds Cyclone on the backside because the Aegis was still down from before.
Metyankey.
Nice Stygian Torment there, but Best in a lot of trouble.
Tosses out the ultimate. Janus will find a little bit, and his team will clean up. 5 players alive for Trifecta. Splyce has been in the driver's seat this entire time, but Trifecta about to hijack it.
But again, it's just about that the whole idea behind Splyce's composition is pick off one person with Fenrir ult, win the fight because we have the man advantage. That's a lot harder to do whenever you're in a siege opportunity where everyone's grouped up like that.
Oh, the Best can't find the kill. Able to dish out some damage, but not enough to get the reset. Best faced and forced out on the left side. Zapman taking some damage, dealing it back as well.
Man.
Up, down. Sato Shore owns the town, but Metyankey punishes him. Scary D very low, but it's 4 alive for Trifecta. The Best and Aurora, the only ones left for Splyce. Still a retreat.
And I like what Best has gone for in this last item slot, a Magi's Cloak to try and make sure that he doesn't get CC'd by the pluck-in from NeiruMah. He doesn't have to use the ultimate in that situation when he gets jumped on by Scary D. Those things are important because you need that Scylla ultimate in the late game to be the deciding factor in a lot of these fights instead of just trying to use it as a safety tool.
Right.
But he is able to escape. The rest of the team not quite so able. And this is one of those situations where the defense for Trifecta coming up big because of the offense that their composition has. It's just very, very hard to deal with your backliners getting Janus ulted, Ratatoskr ulted, Amaterasu ulted. Mounted archery is going to be able to close the gap and shoot that shot out and deal damage there as well. It's just really hard to make sure that CycloneSpin and the Best, or even either one, can be safe. So Trifecta's done a good job of not playing too passive in the situations. Whenever Splyce walks in, it's Trifecta who's really getting these fights started.
Exactly, and that is Trifecta understanding what's going wrong. They see that Splyce has this perfect combo set up, and if you sit on your hands and wait to get comboed, guess what? you're just going to lose. So Trifecta take the reins, and they say, we are going to be the initiators, because Splyce have an initiation composition. So if we jump on them before they anticipate, they can't get all their ducks in a row and fire the artillery. They're not able to get set up, if you will, and Splyce does require a little bit of that in their comp.
And they're doing a good job, Trifecta is, I should say, of splitting up and making it so that the team fight is very spread out, because as a counter initiation composition, Splyce is not great, but it's really relying on a good ultimate from Aror or good mez from him either.
And this time Splyce is going to be the one starting the party. NeiruMah down to about quarter of HP. Mask staying aggressive. Metyankey comes in and clips CycloneSpin with the ultimate. Scary D, 1, 2, 3, won't find the stun. Cyclone turns around and says hello to Mask, who puts him in the ground. 4 players alive for Splyce. Nice ultimate from Aror, gonna cut the team fight in half. Zapman's still alive. That exit is big, but Divios shuts down support.
Now mounted archery coming in from Zapman, still looking for the extra damage, but from a distance, Mask takes a big chunk, but Metyankey comes around the back and finds Divios.
Zapman with a big play there, staying alive. Cyno, sure. Avoiding some of that stuff. Aror still alive here, just barely. Trifecta, again, a better play. This time Splyce do get what they want in the starting of the team fight, but Trifecta able to answer back this time around.
Mask started that fire giant for Zapman, but can't really stick around, and Zap can't afford to tank this forever. He's going to need to drop the aggro on this unless the rest of the team comes in time. No, I didn't think so. I was going to say, that was close. We almost got there. But I just had that feeling, you know? I just had that feeling in my stomach that Zap was about to die to an objective, and it happened.
Zap dies to the objective. 4 players alive with the fire giant puff.
That is so bad right now, too, because now that's 50 seconds that you lose your hunter, and Zap has been doing a lot of damage in these team fights. Tom, he's second in the game right now on this Hachiman. He's done really, really well in these team fights. He's been a critical piece for Trifecta's defense, and now you've got a 4-on-5 defense opportunity. Splyce has had so much trouble breaking the base. They should have just asked Fire Giant to come and do it for him.
Pretty much. Splyce right now have perhaps the best opportunity all game to really come through and get this offensive shot going. Divios jumps forward. Aror here as well. CycloneSpin in the back line. Just dealing the basics. Mid Phoenix goes down. Again, unceremoniously. Just walk in, take care of business. No problem. Like you going to CVS, just picking up the stuff.
What? Right side Phoenix. Already about 50% HP. It's on the respawn still. Blink forward from Mask. Puts good pressure on a CycloneSpin, but TheBest gonna put pressure on the Mask to go right into the ground. 67 seconds till he's back in the fight.
This could be game here. With that long of time down for Mask, Aror gonna fall into the passive here, but can stay alive. Zapman does find the long-range basics.
Oh, that's a misplay there by Splyce. No,
yeah,
you just got a body block
that.
one. I mean, Aror just gets eaten alive, and Scary D's able to escape with 1 HP. Man, that's a couple key misplays in this game are going to define it in my mind. It's right there. Aror gets let down by his squad as he falls when he shouldn't have. Zapman dying to Fire Giant opens the door for Splyce to even get a Phoenix in that situation. So both sides, I mean, in this situation, 2 wrongs could make a right.
But 2 rights make an airplane.
You're going to have to explain that one to me. I'm not. Oh, the Wright brothers, like a W, then R-I-G-H-T. Okay.
42 on the clock.
Do you think they made the airplane, or they just like came up with it, then told someone else to build it for them, and then they wrote it?
No, it's like...
Are you sure that they are the ones that made the airplane?
Yes, it's highly documented.
All right, just making sure.
Like, very highly documented.
Maybe there's some factory worker who actually made the airplane, and he's like, come on, dude. The Wright brothers just told me what to do. I'm the one who put it together.
How do you fit your tinfoil hat underneath your headset when commentating? That's my question to you, Ryan Bailey.
Look, if that's my biggest conspiracy theory I'm worried about, I think I'm doing A-okay, to be honest with you.
I would love for you to share your conspiracy theories with the fans at home, but
I don't
not
have it.
right now. That's a lie. I know your conspiracy theories.
What are you talking about?
You think John Finch is a lizard person.
Okay, I know John Finch is a lizard person, but happy birthday to him.
Splyce, again, regaining control of the game. They want to wait to Fire Giant. Trifecta should not let them. And that's why you see Trifecta pushing up here, specifically in the mid lane, to deal with those minions that are coming down. NeiruMah
Nice
shows up,
shot.
puts a beautiful shot out of the mid lane Mage, cutting down 3 separate players. Here comes Trifecta for the follow-up. Mask is going to be in control, looking for the knock-up on 2, finds it, there's the stun, and the spin, it's good. Zapman and Mask combined for 2.
Nice play there, and it all starts off because of Metyankey. Mask has to blink away in case Divios try to turn it onto him, but both damage dealers right now for Splyce are already dead. Metyankey will put down Divios. And that could be it here, Tom. I mean, Trifecta's got plenty of time now. Do we have a base race coming?
Yes, we do. Aurora and Cyno are going to push down the middle lane, but back because they think they have to defend. Splyce are going to push down the right side, and half of them back because they think they have to defend.
Oh, man.
No base race. Instead, it's going to be 4 players on the right side pushing out this Phoenix. Aurora and Cyno can take care of Mask. Here it comes. The Yawn's going to hit 2. NeiruMah still taking the Phoenix, gets rooted out. Cyno playing it safe. Not willing to jump all the way in the backline just yet. Needs to make sure he can occupy enough time, 20 seconds, before his mid and Hunter come back.
This is no chance to end the game now for Trifecta, but at least chance to get this right side Phoenix. I mean, 12 seconds left on these respawn timers. No, are they? Yeah, they're going to try and end it here, Tom.
Yeah, they're going right for the Titan. Oh, the ultimate
miss?
out of Metyankey is not going to do the damage intended. Have HP already on the objective. Metyankey dealing with Cyno on the backside. Ladies and gentlemen, Trifecta are going to stretch us to a game.
I don't know. I don't know. No, it's not going to be it.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
They didn't do it. They didn't have the damage. And you know what I was just about to say?
They're not going to do it.
You know what I was just about to say is that you were asking for Metyankey to be the carry for Trifecta, and he was during this game.
He really was.
He wins them that team fight that opens the door for them to almost end the game by hitting 3. And I'm pretty sure he missed the Titan with his through space and time.
I don't think he missed it. I think he hit it, but it was immune to damage.
Either way, Metyankey had a great game. Trifecta come within a few points of damage. Certainly one Zapman auto attack. For all the times that Aror didn't get his auto attacks, didn't get those auto attacks body blocked to keep him alive, Splyce pile in and make sure that he can't auto attack the Titan. Unreal. Easy game, easy life.
They didn't do it.
They didn't do it.
They just didn't do it. Trifecta don't come out on top. 2 games to none. Splyce take the series. And the MVP, who is it? Don't ask me, please. I really don't know who was.
I got a question for you.
Out of office.
What's your favorite color?
Brown. That's the response I always get, by the way. It actually is brown. I just like brown. Trees are cool. Oh, well. CycloneSpin and the squad find the win. Nice stuff. And again, this is a great VOD to watch if you're a fan of Splyce because they've found themselves. They found a strategy that works for them, and they're going to keep executing.
I hope so, because it's going to make it NA that much more competitive, and certainly it looks like it's going to be so far.
I'm done with Ryan. Break it down, Desk.
They didn't do it. I agree with you there, Tom and Aggro. They went for that defense or the Titan siege to the last minute, just couldn't get it off just a little bit of a hair away. But again, it is Finch, it is Taco here on the desk, and Splyce come away with a victory 2-0 over Trifecta. Now they're 1-1 in the standings.
For Trifecta, that's just one of those sets where you're really just kicking yourself most of the time. Game 2 in particular, Trifecta, that wasn't the only heartbreaking moment they had there at the very end.
Not at all.
I think when they first started making their comeback, let's be honest, that was just a punching bag the entire time. There is no escape. Even on Hachiman, I think he really opted for this Hunter, having a little bit more survivability aspect with that ultimate, and even then, still wasn't enough most of the time to get him out of danger. Just more often than not, Splyce using everything in their power to fully collapse onto Zap and end up killing him. But more importantly, it was the Fire Giant when Trifecta was initially starting to make a comeback, and then Zapman takes Fire Giant aggro, immediately dies, pretty much. And there's only so much you can do about that, and it's like, well, that sucks. Let's try and bounce back for the next one. And they had such a great siege off into that right-hand side towards the very end. There's just only so much you can do about it.
Yeah, this is it, Taco, where, and we were talking about this a little bit backstage, me and Toli, where we think that he wouldn't have had time to go back through because you do take damage when you exit that Fire Giant area and give the leash back up. So not so much that Zapman didn't recognize he was dying to the Fire Giant, but that he had to try and out DPS it at the end to stay alive because he might not have been able to survive if he walked back through that fire wall. And there was no one else there to hold the aggro for him initially when it was given to him, so he just kind of had to keep going to get it for his team.
Sometimes you just got to hold it, but again, it was just unfortunate the entire time it felt for Trifecta. Every single time they were up on the high, they were just immediately met by a come down. It was almost impossible, and a lot of it was thanks to Divios and some very aggressive Cerberus gameplay. And this is the second game in a row, actually, where we saw him opting for that 5th item, Thieves, but panned out pretty well for him.
Yeah, Divios is going to be the MVP there that you all selected in Mixer Chat, though. Thank you very much for giving us your opinion on that one. And I got to agree with you, 7, 4, and 11. He looked excellent on this Cerberus pick, Taco. Was really, really so disruptive in the team fights. And look at this. He's back at 27 minutes when they were originally sieging the Phoenixes, were this Splyce team. And Trifecta held them off just for so long. But Divios, man, blinking in, putting all this damage. Just the kill he ends up getting on a Zapman with that jump. Too much damage. No way to stand up against that.
In a lot of ways, it almost felt like Trifecta probably should have been able to pull away with this one, especially with how many times Splyce kept overcommitting into the fountain. Cyno in particular going really deep and separating himself from the rest of his team, just trying to find those last hit kills before they could get that heal out of their fountain. But this game, it did end up going probably a little bit longer than what we were expecting it to, considering the lead that Splyce had managed to amass for themselves. But they ended up closing it out, and I think that's the most important part at the end of the day, is that Splyce was able to find the 2-0 for this set, and that's going to put them on the board for the first time.
It is going to be their first win. It's only the second match that they played, and their first game, again, was up against CLG. So because they only played one game week 1, it was against such a tough opponent, it makes it look like maybe they struggled a little bit more than they were. This roster here, with this strong win up against Trifecta, is showing that they are here to play, Taco. And you're right. Yes, they had a couple slips there towards the end of that game, but being able to pull out those games you don't play your best is the mark of a good team.
And again, this is always just going to help Trifecta as they continue to progress and develop throughout the rest of Season 5. Still got plenty more to learn and future sets to come.
Plenty more to learn and plenty more to go. It might be hard to believe after that 47-minute nail-biter, but we actually have 2 more sets for you. There's still plenty more North American action for you all to enjoy, so I know you might need to go ahead and take a break here, but we'll be right back. Make sure you stay tuned.